Thank you everyone for tuning in for our episode today. I'm here with the lovely Anthony Cavalieri, who I met a year ago, and
Yeah, we met
been
it. We met at
fascinated,
Orchard Street. Been fascinated by what?
fascinated by how quick your mind is, but also how present your body is, and how across many areas of, I would say, innovation, new ways of working, of being, of living, of health, and also being really embodied in how you live yourself and creating space to deeply reflect and be with who you are. That's
Thanks.
always
That
been,
means a lot.
something I admire
And
within you.
likewise, and it's shared, and it's probably why we're here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of respect, mutual respect in that regard as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to be here on the podcast and share a bit more about my story and peel back the layers, as you say.
Yeah, so let's peel them back.
Cool. One layer at a time.
Yeah.
Like an ogre.
Or maybe many at a time.
Many layers. Yeah, we can do that.
I mean,
Yeah,
whenever I chat with you, we've been chatting before recording today, and my mind's already quite blown or expanded with how much information
You crammed it in. I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry. It's been 5 months after,
Yeah, you've been on a journey.
I have been on a journey. Yeah.
A big journey.
So we can start there.
Yeah. Where would you like to start on your journey? What's called?
Well, I can tell you a bit more about it and why I did it as well, and
a bit more about your background too, just so the listeners.
Yeah, so my background is in health science and sports science, so I studied that after school.
Yeah.
I've always had an interest in storytelling, in particular the hero's journey and archetypal sort of knowledge and esoteric knowledge, so combining and looking at things like ancient mythology and sacred geometry, and trying to marry a lot of the ancient wisdom with today's modern science as well, particularly from the perspective of the body, or the human body. And then whilst I was studying exercise sports science, I was also doing a lot of writing courses and wellness coaching courses, and I started to see overlaps in terms of how you would tell a story and how would you coach someone, and they're quite similar, because when someone comes to you, they come to you with a story, and that then formed this idea or process of the hero's journey used in a coaching setting. So then I started to coach clients after that and help them overcome barriers, whether that's physical or mental.
Yeah.
And a lot of that would be peeling back layers, and because a barrier would be a layer, and figuring out what's stopping you from achieving your goal.
Let's pause there. I love that. Barrier is a layer.
Yeah, I'd say so.
In a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're mentioning earlier blocks, noticing blocks on your path. You're in a change period now, and you're seeing the resistance, which really is a block, a barrier.
Yeah.
And then
there's something. What is that thing? Like, what is that barrier, and how did that develop?
Stunning. So that's how you move through your blocks and your layers. One area, how?
Yeah.
One way.
Yeah. There's
So
different.
that's inquiry.
Many ways, right?
Yeah.
There's if we're looking at something like what you do with your breath work, that's something a little less conscious and more subconscious, and so you're tapping into the body's barriers physically, where something like the hero's journey or coaching is more of a conscious process through that as well. And so there's multiple ways that we could do this, and I guess I've had the blessing of being able to look at things from the body's perspective, and then also kind of look at it through the mind's perspective, with my preference more towards the mind, as you know. But I think you need to honor the body as well.
Would you say you're bringing more balance in your body now more than ever?
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
No, I was much more in the body when I was younger.
Yeah.
I've kind of slowly been taking off with the mind a lot more, and trying to resist and trying to like not let it fly too much. But my authenticity, if I'm coming back to myself, is to let go and let the mind do its thing. And because when I was younger, I was doing sports science and I was playing a lot of sport. So and I got a lot of social affirmation from that, and actually that's why I decided to do sport science as a degree, as opposed to something like psychology that was the mind, or film, which was the mind to me as well. And so but now I'm coming back more towards the film, the production, as we were mentioning earlier. And so I'm glad, because I think now I have the relationship with my body in order to sustain that journey into the mind that I might have in the future.
Let's pause on that. Love that. Building that capacity and that strength in the body to then hold all the energy that you're bringing in through your mind and your intellect, which above your crown chakra, the spirit, to then be able to hold that consciousness.
And I had a pretty good glimpse at that. One, with coaching clients, you get to see where their body at versus where their mind at, and I'd say the mind is their career. Like if you're working 9 to 5, you're working corporate, so you've seen someone who's dedicated a lot of their time to their advancement in their career through their logic, and then they've totally dismissed their body, and now they're here at 50, 60 years old trying to come back to that. And I had a glimpse of that myself in lockdown, where I lost the coaching business and lost the movement, and I got stuck into a lot of this film that we've been talking about, and I completely had these blinders on, where I just committed straight to just the mind, not really moving much at all, and I felt really weak, and I dishonored my body, maybe a bit of resentment towards the health industry at the time. So then the last few years have been about integrating that again, and not forgetting that the body, actually has a lot to do with changing the mind's pace as well. If you're taking the time to meditate in the morning, or do some movement in the morning, or some breath work, or some physical play, that tends to then help the mind later on, and not be so reactive to things. Michelle.
I completely agree. I used to be so in the mind. And what you said around doing more body-based in your studies and now more mind, I feel like we're mirrors, but in the opposite. Me studying for 7 years psychology, and then now I'm moving more to somatic with energy healing and the breath work. Still the mind's still there, but learning more, and for me, my own healing has been more in my body, like seeing where I'm not free in my body, because in my mind I do feel free, and I have tools that, which I want to ask you too, when you're so quick in the mind, how again that discernment tool, that having that sort of where you're focusing your energy is a necessity, because really it can go anywhere, and then you're picking up other people's energy if you're passing someone, or other people's problems, that then comes back to the strength of the body, I'd say, as well.
So you're asking how do I play with discernment in my life, like what's my relationship to that, and how do I apply certain tools to know where I'm going? The practical tool of with that intellect being focused on the mind, how you keep it focused. So I do think a lot of for the audience, I do think a lot of that comes from the body's feeling, like your intuition. So I say that's a stronger desire to follow. Examples like certain conversations you have with someone, you notice how you feel after that, and so you're trying to add logic, the mind with the body's kind of signals. So I'm not going to go to certain places where I felt weaker, because it actually makes more sense for me to spend more time where I'm stronger. And so that could be like a relationship, that could be a career, a job, that could be spending time doing something you don't necessarily want to do. You do get a sense of like fatigue in the body, or am I excited to be here? And so really kind of noticing where you sit in your day-to-day life, so your cues, and so a lot of that is the body. And so I would spend a lot of time reflecting on how I feel in certain situations. And then to add the layer of being in the modern world and
finances and
Yeah.
having income.
Yes.
That
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
that
That's a tough
dance if
one.
your body's fatigued from a certain job
Yeah.
that you know is fatiguing you, but then you also know
You need
money.
safety and you need
Yeah.
money.
Just, yeah, for the sake
I-
of survival.
I have a different perspective on that.
Mm.
I don't think we should ever ruin our body in pursuit
No.
of money.
Yeah.
Um,
But where you're at, you mentioned you were at a crossroads yourself.
yeah, I'm at a crossroads myself now because
Mm.
I've worked in the health industry for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
it's coming up to 10 years now.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah, and I'm noticing it's shifted. Like, I don't get the same benefit. My mind's different too. I'm quite like cynical now in my day-to-day, maybe my sessions. I notice I'm not as ambitious or present, and so I'm noticing I'm doing a disservice in my job now. I don't feel like my attention wants to go somewhere else, and the word attention actually means to place your heart, like the root word of that, and so my heart is elsewhere, and so you going back to discernment, it comes back to like, where is my heart, and being honest about where that is, and that kind of makes choices for me as well. And people say like, well, you need money and you need this thing. That's true, but I would say like value is how you attain money. So like, if I produce a better product, whether that's if I can produce a better film, that's a better product versus a session right now, then I'm better off putting my time and energy into a better service, and then that better service will then give you more money as well, because that's worth more, it's valued at more. And also you're now fulfilling your potential, you're fulfilling your value, so you feel really good about your choices and where you're going,
and vitality then flows through.
And you're just way more engaged, you're way more you're just loving life essentially, and you're enjoying life. And I think that's a really big thing, and people will pay for that, like as in like people literally pay to want to be happier, they want to be, that's why they come to coaching, that's why they go to work out. So I'd say follow your heart. And then how do you know what that is? I do think there's a voice inside of everyone, which is their higher self or their heart or God or whatever you like to call it. The interesting part about that part of yourself, or that voice, is that it's tied to the unknown. So, and that your relationship to the unknown. I find that the things that you pursue in life that you love, you don't really know the outcome of that. So there is this like relationship between love and surrender, and so I think that's why we say falling in love. There's the act of giving yourself away to something, which is scary because you don't know what's going to take you, and so that's why I think there is a really big resistance between following that voice and that part and discernment. But I think in my own life and probably people's experiences in life as well, it eventually in hindsight you look back, you're like, damn, I should have followed that thing, or I was being dishonest to myself or not authentic with myself about what I actually love, and you're kind of limiting who you are and who you want to be. And ultimately that's what we want in our life. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be understood
and loved.
And you can only do that by actually giving yourself permission to do that first.
Let's hang on there for a second, because I want to peel that back more with you.
Let's go through it.
And even reflecting on my journey of peeling back to my relationship with myself first, because for so long I followed my ancestors in a way, my mum and my nonna, how they served, and it was always others first before them, which can be overplayed, of course, being in a mother role, that tends to come about, but forgetting yourself to the point of then becoming bitter and fatigued is no good to anyone, and particularly as a woman standing in that new way of being. And actually it's not that simple to put yourself first. It might sound it, but then when you anchor it into your life, so much can change, whether it's saying no more to things you used to enjoy but that they're taxing, or really being intentional in each moment, which then comes to the tools you need to know how to be intentional, but also the tool of discernment, and then presence. and body awareness to know how your body's responding, because for so long I felt instinct straight away. If like I met someone or an invitation came and my body would respond, but if I'm not present and I'm not really here, I miss those signals.
Yeah.
Or I didn't miss them, I noticed them, but then I got caught up doing something else because of the pace of life, and then I've forgotten about that instinct. I've just gotten swept up into that matrix of that energy. And then, as you said, later on, you're like, shit, okay, something happens, and you realize, oh, my instinct was right from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I guess from my own learning, it's still a work in art. It's still something more than ever now that I'm really honing in on and honoring. It's sacred. It's devoting myself to that, which is my body, my feminine, and that is the feminine. Yeah, really, really stripping that back. But it's not easy, so I did want to push that out there. I haven't found it easy. I mean, it's gotten stronger over time, but
it's not. It's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable.
Yeah,
like
beautiful.
It's something you learn to enjoy over time, because you start to look back on different versions of yourself and you're proud of where you've come, and ultimately you are kind of working on that relationship with yourself over time. And so, you know, the more joy you feel, the more love you feel day to day is based upon how much work and time and effort you've put on the relationship you have to yourself, and the honesty you have with yourself. So, and I think like anything, once you are on a roll with that, you don't want to tarnish that. And so, you know, whether it's your diet, people, you know, you don't want to go back to how you used to eat because now you're feeling so good. So it's the same sort of emotional feeling that you get, but it's not until you actually put in maybe a couple of months of that that you get to see the differences, and then there's all these different layers to that. Yeah,
but also the human side of us that maybe a day or two you might sit back.
Oh, you will. Yeah, you definitely will, and that's where.
That.
And that's a part of the relationship, right? That's part of like what's your relationship to yourself when you do fall back. Do you forgive yourself, or do you like come down yourself like a tyrant, and then you punish yourself for those things, and you like, I'm not good enough, I knew I couldn't do this, and so.
Was that how let's bring it back in?
Yeah.
Deeper for yourself.
I can be quite hard on myself. I find.
What do the thoughts that inner voice say for those listening that might not really?
Yeah, there's like parts of myself that are upset or maybe not proud of, or expects me to be elsewhere at times, and so it's like, you should be here already, or you should. There's a lot of shoulds. Should on this, should have done that. But I do have this other voice where it's like, it's all good, like, you know, like there is the benevolent voice too.
The angel and the devil.
There is, 100%. There is that, and a lot of those, you know, other voices aren't necessarily your own voice. It's other people's opinions and judgments of you too, and so you got to recognize which ones are actually yours, and do you actually want that thing? Do you actually care about the thing you're pursuing? Or is that because it's maybe, you know, someone's conditioned in some sense? So again, it's coming back to like peeling back the layers, but in this case, it's more so the voices. So peeling back those different voices and recognizing which one is the one you're going to listen to.
Yeah, that discernment.
And that's discernment as well. And it's really tough because, you know, I find a lot of it has to do with your food. Like, you know, different foods will change your mindset. And so some people are thinking they have really negative thoughts, but it's actually their gut microbiome. And it's not actually what you think. Alcohol, you know, if you're drinking and then you wake up next day, you feel shit about yourself, and it lasts a week, and it's like, and then you do it again next week because you felt so bad about yourself. You're like, oh, I might as well drink again. Like, fuck, I'm a loser. And then you do it again, and you know, you get stuck in these cycles. And so, like, the most important thing to do is remove yourself from all these different things that can impact you, and try and find that authentic self when you kind of strip away, whether that's a Vipannasana sort of thing, or whether that's a fasting. I'd say fasting is a good one because you remove a lot of things that you're putting into the body, so you're kind of getting clearer, right? That's the whole point of it. And so you could do 3 days maybe on water as a good start, and then just sit with yourself and see.
No food, 3 days.
Yeah, no food, just water. Yeah.
Wow. do you recommend like not doing much work and
Yeah,
exercising?
try not to, like try to do it over a weekend, a long weekend.
Yeah. How often do you do that?
A couple of times a year.
Sick.
I want to try to do it once a week.
Just water.
Just water.
And depends what water.
Yeah, it depends what water. we can leave that one for now. But it's just, I think you owe yourself that time. And coming back to my trip a bit, the purpose of that was to give myself time with myself and to really be honest with where I'm at and what I'm doing. And and I promised myself that I'd do it before the age of 30. And so again, I'm just trying to honor the relationship I have with myself as best as I can. And I think that is my goal for myself, but it's my goal for everyone too, because if you have that, then you're not going to lash out on others, you're not going to take it out on others, and we can probably start to create a bit more of a harmonious society. And so,
well, the word for that, and I've deeply been contemplating on relationship to self, and what really resonates, curious to hear how it feels for you and your body, is inner certainty and inner harmony or stability. It's like really that security within you, that no matter what life throws at you, that it just,
you're gonna be fine.
It falls, whether it might trigger you, but you know you have the tools that you can digest it. And a dear friend reminds me that life experiences need to be digested like food. To move through, not all of them, but particularly the ones that are more sore or touch a wound, to then come back to that inner stability, knowing that that's holding you.
Like when people say, like, you say tool, I think like philosophy is a tool, and I think that's something we don't 100%. Really necessarily talk about these days as a tool. It's because people ask like, what do you believe in, what's your religion?
But that is a tool. That's a resource.
It's a foundation or a story. It's essentially a story that you've told yourself, or that you've taken from somewhere that you believe in, that becomes integrated with your psyche and its ability to bounce back. So people say, what tools do you have? I've used like the hero's, like there's multiple ones, but we'll do a hero's journey. Like that as a framework, or that as a narrative that I really believe in, allows me to map out where I am on my journey.
Let's go there. What's the hero's journey for those who are listening?
So the hero's journey is a framework for storytelling, and so it's the let's use Shrek. Let's use Shrek because it's the perfect one for this.
Anthony likes the title of my podcast. He thought of Donkey from Shrek. The onion.
As if everyone else isn't thinking that.
I do.
You mentioned onions, and I'm like Shrek. 100%. Yeah. Especially peeling back when the ogres have layers. Like it's classic.
What's the
ogres
accent?
have layers?
Yeah. We need to channel his accent.
Yeah, ogres have layers. I'm pretty bad with that, but
no, that's good.
Ogres have layers.
Hero's journey.
Hero's journey. So I can kind of talk you through the whole different steps. So you have the I call it the journey to the familiar unknown, which is the first part, which is where the hero starts their journey. And so in this part of the journey, you're just a mundane character. It's like you and I in our ordinary world. So it's actually called the ordinary world. And then you have the call to adventure. So the call to adventure is something that happens to you that kind of calls you out of your normal domain. So let's say you're at home and you get a phone call and you get a call to go out for the day. That could be the call to adventure. You have meeting of the mentor. So that's when you meet someone on the journey that could help you get to where you want to go. It takes you out of the domain that you're in. And you have the crossing of the threshold. So that person generally helps you cross from your ordinary world to the like extraordinary world, essentially. And to put this in terms of psych, that's the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. So someone that helps you go from what you know day to day to the unknown. So you starting a podcast, how do I do a podcast? You're seeking, have a mentor with this. So that is a way of doing the hero's journey. And so you see this kind of play out. And when you know the story, you kind of know the different feelings and emotions you're going to feel along the way. And the hero archetype is someone that actually overcomes these challenges and gives back to society. And so there's a way of being or an embodiment that you could believe in or partake in and act as to help you fulfill your journey, essentially. Because not all characters are the hero and they'll fail along the way. And so after the crossing of the threshold,
and that's parts work, that's parts therapy, the different parts within us that play the different roles.
So archetypes.
Archetypes.
And you have you have the trials and errors. So these are things like, once you cross the threshold, you're going to try new things and then you're going to fail at those things. You're going to have to try again. You might succeed. And then so this is where you kind of develop and you find out what you're good at. So let's say podcasting, right? You'll find out like, do questioning, recording, editing. There'll be things you're really good at and things you're not necessarily good at. And then you just tend to develop that. You then have this like sacrifice stage. So there's something that you want to do, which is become something. And in order to become that thing, you need to let go of a part of yourself that was holding you back. So that's where the barrier is, or that.
Can you say that again?
There's something about the old version of you that's stopping you from becoming the new version that you want to become.
It's like moving through a vortex, and
yes,
the energy of the old's anchoring you. It's heavier, it's denser,
and you'll keep butting into that thing. So that could be like, for me, right? That could be like, sometimes, the website wasn't working, and the people I'm meeting wasn't the right people, or it could be anything. And there's a certain relationship or pattern that I have to a certain scenario that keeps popping up, and I'm just like, what the hell is this thing? Like, why can I not cross this thing? And then it's because I'm not letting go of something. And maybe it's ego, maybe it's a certain part of myself that's wounded.
Or attached to an old
attached to something.
Through ego,
And so then once you make the proper sacrifice, so you give that thing up and you give it to a higher power, which in this case is your higher self, who you're going to become, is who you give yourself to.
Your future self, that part of you that's already living your dream and your goals already achieved. And you say, and it's the same thing with God. If you want to make this religious in some sense, you give that part of yourself to a higher to something higher than you, in faith that you can become that. Generating, organizing, delivering God.
And once you do that, then you then have this like rebirth, and so you come back as this new version of yourself, and that's only about halfway through the journey. And then the rest of the journey
whoa. Alright, that's only halfway.
That's exactly halfway. We're exactly halfway. And then after that you have
I thought that was the whole way.
No, it's actually not.
I'm rebirth. Like, sweet, we're reborn.
No, then you have to integrate that motherfucker. So integrations. So you have this period of like where you need to maintain that, and so for example, you have
embodiment, right?
Embodiment. So you have a client that's now changed, right? They've changed their diet, and then can you maintain that now on your own without me? And that's where the hero is now tested in. Okay, like, is this actually integrated now? And so then you have this other period. You could fall all the way back down to the beginning again, if from any of these points, because you're in the unknown and you can get destroyed here, but it's all kind of building you up. And so once you kind of integrate that, and then you go, you return back to the community or back to the place that you started from, and then you share what you've learned and who you are with the world, and that fulfills your journey. And in Shrek's case, I'll go really quickly here, he has like the swamp, so that's the ordinary world. You then have where he lives. He doesn't want to leave his swamp. He loves his swamp, right? And so he gets the call to adventure, which is like kind of like Donkey, and these people pitchforks trying to force him out. He rejects the call, so he keeps saying no. And when you reject the call enough, something will happen to you that kind of forces you out. You don't have a choice. Like, the world will do it to you. And so that could be things like COVID. That could be things like your issue with this like psych stuff. So it'll happen to you no matter what. And so I find like I'm super cautious now. Like, I'm like, fuck, if I get any signs,
I feel like you've hit something in me just seeing it in this light. Thank you.
I'm like, okay, I got a sign here. I'm at the fuck out of here, because I don't want the world to wake. Because sometimes the world will really try to wake you up. You
hear the it'll give you like a feather, then it'll give you a brick, then a truck.
Yes. Okay, that's exactly what it is. And I've had a few trucks.
Yeah,
so I'm
same.
like,
I feel you.
okay, I'm like, okay. Like, I gotta go do this thing. And I know, and there's so many stories like that you hear of people going through this drastic sort of change. And so that's the kind of, that's now the call to adventure.
But let's pause there because it doesn't mean that when you miss the feather, that you should have listened. Like, that's where the judgment might come in. Because previously I used to think that, if only I listened earlier, that harsher voice. But actually, when you're deep in your mud, like the depths of the mud from the truck, that gives you something that maybe the feather wouldn't have. Because
yes, but then in the beginning, for sure, because you're unaware of it.
The beginning,
you don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's times you start to know this pattern, because once you've uptaken this pattern now that you understand the hero's journey, or understand this, like, this way the storytelling works, and maybe possibly how the universe works in some ways. Because I really believe that we're living in a narrative. So I feel like there are patterns. Yeah. And so once you recognize that, you go, okay, cool, I don't want that to happen again. I don't want another truck. So you start to, so this becomes like, way more, because the reason you got hit by a truck is because you didn't listen to your intuition in the first place. So what you're developing here is the ability to listen to your intuition and act on that quicker. And that's what gets you, that's, if you want to get anywhere, is being able to listen to your intuition really quickly.
100%, you're building that muscle.
That's what you're building that, yeah.
But we all experience the trucks to then
but
shake it up.
To shake it up. 100%.
And peel the layers then.
Yes.
On that conscious journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. So Shrek gets forced into the journey.
Can we pause there? Because I just had a vision of
let's go.
Mainstream society and let's say mainstream living humans who are in that grind. That is struggle a lot of the time. Back to what you were saying with not listening to your body, just continuing because you're conditioned to believe this is a way to climb a ladder or get money. But actually, there's a lot of struggle. So I see that as a lot of trucks.
It
is.
Where
the trucks
it is a lot of trucks because they're complaining all the time.
Yeah, the victimization is a truck.
The trucks and the resistance is the complaints.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you're complaining about your day-to-day life,
such a low frequency, right?
Yeah.
Victimization.
But it's like you're not being honest with yourself. And that's why you're sort of complaining about something, because things can, like, the thing is, the alternative is like you don't know where you go and you end up lost for a little bit. Like that's
let's just celebrate being lost is really good.
It's fantastic.
It's so good for you.
It's good for a certain period of time.
Not being stuck there.
Not stuck there, but you can.
But let's celebrate being lost.
You should celebrate. Yeah. 100%.
Society doesn't celebrate that.
No, we're afraid of that.
Exactly.
That's our biggest fear. Is we're afraid of
that
the
decline.
Chaos, which is the divine feminine.
Yeah.
So to put this in a story narrative way, the divine feminine.
The Carly.
the flood.
Yeah.
Is the water, which is the mother, which is the divine that comes and ruins society.
And I think the rain's coming in. It's picked up,
and then there's also like layers on top of this. If we go into Jung's work and we go into other forms of story, where we learn about different characters, and so this is just the hero's journey, but we can then go and look at like what characters do you meet along the way, and what does the kingdom represent, what does the king represent, and you can see these in your day-to-day life. And so example just quickly is like the king is structure. So the kingdom is structure, which is the buildings and stuff. But then in your life, that would become your workplace. That gives you structure. Yeah. So there's no difference between your workplace and the kingdom. That's where you go up every single day. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, am I a part of a just kingdom, or am I a part of a kingdom that's tyrannical? And so then you ask yourself, like, and tyrannical would be like making you do something you don't necessarily want to do. It's like feeling oppressed. And so if you're feeling oppressed at work, then your kingdom, and the kingdom is also inside of you too. It's like you're the one doing it to yourself. You're the one staying there. You're the one.
What's external is internal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a mirror of those two things. So now we're trying to, like, the whole point of this is to try and mirror our external world and with our internal world, and realize what's happening internally on our day-to-day life. And ultimately we're trying to work out our story and where we're going and what we're doing. That's what we're doing every single day. And people are like, where you're going in life, what you're doing, and how you feel. You feel good if you hit your goals. You don't feel good if you're not hitting your goals. If you have another goal and you're working in this place, like a lot of your emotional status is based off your narrative to yourself.
Pause. That is conditional to an extent too, though, I believe.
It is, yeah.
Because we are hardwired to evolve and that will to grow and achieve.
Yeah.
But what's missing is the feminine of being in the here and the now.
That's exactly it. So that's where it becomes, it's actually not about where you go. It's about who you become along the way and changing your neurology or your goals or aims to not feeling good in a later date to feeling good in the present moment. And so,
and with that though, it's not just you, it's appreciating all that you have, like the beauty in the world, the earth.
Well, that's the grind. That's the grind. The grind is I will feel good in 10 years time once I have this much money from working this job I don't like to do things that I want to do in 10 years time.
And then
by the time you get there, you might not get there. You could end up sick along the way. You get fired from your job. You realize the person you're working with doesn't actually like. But all said and done, like you could have the opposite. You could be in a very great kingdom where the place is really good and you're grinding along the way and still feeling like you're building and you have resistance, but the force behind it or the intention behind it is great. So I'm not saying don't work. I'm saying what's the energy of the place that you're involved with? So who are you working for? What am I of service to? And are you working for something greater than yourself? And that'll give you this positive feedback loop with yourself. But I think right now in today's society, not many places are like that, and so it's very hard, and that's why I think we have people going out on their own, doing their own businesses, doing their podcasts,
the synarchies,
creative things. We have to try and find another way because the kingdom we're living in is very tyrannical right now, so we don't really have an option. And Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot. I know I talk about him quite a bit, but he talks about like when I think it was the Moses in Egypt, and he took everyone out of Egypt. So Egypt was the kingdom, and they were ruled by a tyrant, and so they went from the kingdom out into the desert, and the desert is the unknown. And so the hard thing about the kingdom and leaving the kingdom is like you don't go to another structure straight away. It's that fear of the unknown, it's that fear of that descent, the chaos. Is you're gonna have to go there for a little while,
which is to the soul. It's close to
the
your
journey.
soul.
Journey to exactly. So that's the fear. The fear is around going to that place that you don't necessarily want to go, but you'll find yourself there, and you'll be able to pick yourself up, and that's what the hero's journey is about.
So continue with Shrek and the hero's journey.
Yeah. So we were up to him denying the call. With Jonky. And so what happens is he then has to go and meet Lord Farquaad to go get the funny character, funny name, to go get the deeds. And so in order to get the deed for his swamp, Lord Farquaad says, can you go save this princess? And so he's literally pushed out into this journey against his own will to go get his swamp. So he never really accepted it until maybe the third time that it happened. Talking about the trucks and the things like that kind of compounds over time. And so eventually he goes, accepts that, and then his actual journey begins, and the story actually begins as well. And so he goes through these trials and errors, and so that's him actually going to face the dragon, and him having to go save the princess and find the people in the forest, and him having now to change. And then at the very end, I guess, getting close to his sacrifices, he has to sacrifice his swamp at some point, or to be with Fiona. And he doesn't do that. He goes back again to the swamp, and then eventually makes that sacrifice. And her sacrifice is letting go of her beauty and being her authentic self and her true self, which is the ogre, to be with Shrek. And so there's that whole element of letting go of who you think you were, which is a princess, and him having to let go of his idea of him being lonely, fear of being lonely in the swamp, and having to invite her over. So there's this whole concept of that. And that will then go along, and then you have the beautiful ending, and then they have the kids and stuff, and then you set up the next journey and next one. So, that's a bit of a quick rundown of Shrek and the peeling of the layers, sort of thing. So
and that detachment of the old self and going on how hard that can be and is
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Particularly
Well,
the
there's
identity
that
piece.
sacred symbol of the dragon eating its own tail. It's one of the oldest, the Uberos.
Yeah.
And that represents something that is being reborn and eating itself at the same time. And so it's that balance of like order and chaos, or the destruction and creation of something. And that's what that represents. And so that's ultimately who we are. So I don't know if you look at even quantum physics now, like, you know, we're like on and off, like a light switch. Like the world is actually flickering on and off, and your cells are separating and putting back together, and you have different cells every freaking, like every millisecond, whatever it is. And so we're always coming back to ourselves on, off, on, off, on, off. So creation, destruction. Even our cells die, and then we create new cells in the day. So it's a part of our nature.
Yeah.
And to forget that is to forget who we truly are. And the fear
is that
of
like
losing
the contraction
ourselves.
expansion?
Contraction expansion as well. The heart,
just like
contraction
the
expansion of
ocean.
the universe, contraction expansion of the universe, the breath, deep breathing in, letting go.
Yeah.
So it's literally it's part of who we are.
Yeah.
And the world, the way it exists. And we tend to take a breath in, and then we're scared of letting go, not realize it's going to come back to us once we let go. You naturally draw back in that breath.
Beautiful, yeah.
So there's only hesitation once you decide to continue let go or to continually hold.
Wow.
So it's getting into that balance. And so I think that's why meditation and breath work is a very beautiful way of tapping into that part of yourself that you...
Making it conscious.
Making it conscious, and you end up in that space, in that nothingness, in that void, which is the things in between the on and off, or between your day, right? You acting out in the day, and you being still in the darkness, sort of thing. So that's where I feel like we need to spend more time.
Even that awareness, I feel like that just dropped in for me even deeper, of the exhale, knowing that there will be an inhale, like having reminders around your house, or you know, the exhale being the let go, but letting go and the surrender and the emptying and the dying, but then the inhale always comes, just like the waves. Just having that as a visual reminder, because we are nature, we're an animal that belongs here, and bringing those symbols and philosophies even as the tools when you're moving through harder times, particularly.
Bring this back to the body, right? Carbon dioxide. So you're breathing in, you're holding in, and carbon dioxide is building up whilst you're holding, and that causes the stress response to tick over. And so the body starts to stress. So by you holding on to things is causing the stress. And that's something that I've definitely learned at this period in my time, is like holding on to the ideas I have of myself that I've built up over time, and what people think of me, and those things. And so that's why I actually went on my trip, was so I could let go of everything that I thought I was, and let go of everything I thought people thought of who I was as well, and actually take a pause, so sit in that darkness or that chaos or that freedom, and just be like, what actually remains? What am I doing if I didn't have to do anything? Like, if I just sat here, what would I naturally do? And like, I'm writing, I'm doing this, and you start to notice what you're naturally drawn to, as opposed to imposing things on yourself. And then you can come back and be like, okay, how do I structure my life so I can do more of these things again? How can I write more, or how can I do these things more that are more natural to me? Because now I'm breathing again. I'm just kind of being natural with who I am, as opposed to imposing these things on, holding on to things.
And putting the pressure. I was speaking to my husband about this yesterday, just both catching ourselves if we're putting pressure on ourselves on our own self, like that self relationship, and how where that can come from. Particularly I see it in mainstream consciousness, like that force, that lack of flow in achieving goals. Like, it has to be a certain way, which comes from the ego and the expectation, but then removing that pressure and that letting go of, actually, I don't believe there needs to be any pressure. I feel like when there is pressure, that for me it feels like I'm out of alignment.
The whole pressure makes diamonds.
But when I think of, I guess this comes back to, and we've spoken about this, the limitation of language and what I see pressure as versus you. Like, for me, pressure from 7 years of study, I put so much pressure on myself to show up to get high marks, to get into honours, then masters. That worked for me then, but even then it was so intense. Like when I look back, it was, I sacrificed a lot, but I was drained. I felt numb.
What if that was not the right thing to pursue though? And that's why I was draining.
Which is funny because of me, peeling back the layers of my
rather than it being the pressure itself, you're pressuring yourself to do something that isn't natural. That's conditioned. Which is, and what if you put the pressure on something that was your authentic self, more natural? It does maybe not as, might not have the same feeling.
No, you still feel the increase of energy and direction of your attention and the planning, the structure needed to create something. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like pressure, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think it becomes inspiration.
Do you agree? Yeah.
And
the fire naturally comes.
To be in spirit. So I think when you're pursuing something, you should be inspired. That's what you're pursuing. And that would be inspiration to be.
But to find that inspiration, you first need to try all things and accept the callings
and let go of things when you know it's not the right thing.
It's like the hard
shell. It's accepting the mistake, you know, because like you're gonna go and the trials and errors, right? This is the whole, like now, like we're kind of building out the hero's journey to a more expansive version of your life, right? It's daily, right? It's these little things, but it's also your entire life.
But it's not even a mistake. Like I challenge that.
So
an error,
yeah. So an error, just to
little
share something with you, Well, the root word of error means to wander. Yeah. So, like you said, language, right? So my definition of error is different, but if you go back to the original word of error, it's so beautiful as to wander. Yeah. So I've learned that on the pursuit of being inspired or my joy, it is a dance, and so you're kind of swaying and trying things and figuring out what's right and what's wrong for you and what feels good. And so I like the word error now because I'm not hard on myself about it. I'm just know that I'm wondering and finding what it is that brings me joy.
Wow, beautiful. Where did you come across that? That would have been such an aha moment.
It was. And I just like looking at words, etymology. Yeah. I love looking at root words. Decision, like the word decision is to cut off. Yeah. So when you make a choice, you're literally cutting off something else. And that, you know. So there's a lot of these words that we use that I think are quite beautiful.
Which is
and if we can increase our vocabulary, so I do think by increasing your vocabulary as well and writing, that's why I like writing so much, is you start to develop a bit of a narrative and a positive, rather than saying I made an error, I can still say that, but it's completely different now. And so you don't use words with a negative connotation, you understand them a bit deeper, and you put together your own philosophy, which is what this comes back to. I think coming back to your own philosophy that you've built with yourself over time is really important.
What would you say yours is? Just give us headline. Oh.
My philosophy.
You're accepting the challenge?
With the headline of it, what would I call it?
Yeah. I feel like that's quite a big question.
That's a massive question.
I know, that's why I'm laughing at the challenge.
That's such a challenge.
Trust yourself. Go. Trust fall. Boom.
You know what? We actually did this together, by the way. The way of spirit.
Wow. Yeah. That's your philosophy, the way of spirit.
Yeah, the way of spirit would be the title of the book if I had to write one about that.
The way of spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, and the sword is actually quite a strong symbol right now. Just if you mentioned the sword earlier, so you can kind of maybe wrap up with that, and the hero's journey is that, like, what I used to do as well, by the way, with my writings, was I would actually have a lot of extracts of the hero's journey. So I'd think about the hero and what characteristics they have and what journeys they would go on. And one of them was about the sword and why that's the weapon of choice. And I had this meditation where, to share a bit more about myself and peel back a layer, quite literally, is I was sitting there and I had this feeling of like armor over the body, very like silky smooth, like light armor, and I felt quite nimble in it. It wasn't heavy. And then I was asked or prompted to think about what was under the armor, and I realized under the armor is a man, and I was then asked, how does it feel under the armor? And then I noticed the body heat obviously being trapped by the armor itself. And so I started to realize, oh shit, okay, the armor that I'm wearing, although it's nimble, although it's protective, although it has all these benefits, is stopping me from being my authentic self. And I'm actually burning myself on the inside. So all the fire that I have, all the inspiration that I have, and the desire to be in the world is being contained. And if I don't express it authentically, it'll kill me from the inside out, sort of thing.
And that armor was built from early on in your life as a child to protect you, potentially from...
For me, it's creativity. Yeah, I was very protective of my creativity.
But from a psychological lens, as a child, that feeling safe to show your creative expression, to be in it fully, may have not been there. Hence that loyal soldier, I call it, part of you, built the armor so you could feel like you belonged.
Yes, 100%.
But hey, great job. We can in schema therapy, we call that your protector self.
Yeah.
But it's done an awesome job up until this point of realizing, actually, this is now my new resistance and barrier. I'm ready to break it down.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve me anymore. But thank you, because you helped me feel like I was loved back then, because I didn't feel safe to express myself authentically, and my creativity wasn't honoured in the way I needed it to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
100%. And that's usually what the tyrants, or that character in the story, is generally yourself. The dragon at the end of the story is you, and it's stopping you from having... The only person stopping you from having what you want is you, because you've built up these layers, which could be archetypal people in the story. And it was warranted. Like, I was like, it's protective, right? And so I thought, okay, well, you don't dismiss protection, you don't dismiss the kingdom. Like, just because there's a tyrant in the kingdom, you don't go and burn down the entire kingdom. You just try and replace it with a benevolent king. And so the meditation continued further, and I realized, okay, well, I need something that I can protect myself with. And that became a sword, because the sword is something like that becomes like an extension of your arm, and you need to master it, and it's discerning, so that it's like cutting off things. And so you remove the armor, but you take a sword in hand, and so then that becomes like this metaphorical sense of how you live. And so you live vulnerably with no armor on, but you still develop your sword, which is your skill set, which is your way of cutting through the world and getting to where you want to go, and this assistance sort of thing.
Still a level of protection.
Of course, but you need that too.
100%.
You can't just but if you die, this is the old Japanese thing. If you die by the sword, like, you live by the sword, sort of thing. So it's an honorable death to die by a sword. And I like that, because it's ultimately up to you and how you use it. It's not kind of cheating in some sense. And it could be different for different people, right? You might have something else, like your weapon of choice could be different. So this meditation came about, okay, what is my choice of weapon in the world? But it's also used to protect others as well. Like, you know, if you standing up against a tyrant, or standing up for truth. Maybe you go bare hands or not, but it was just a beautiful meditation.
I would use a sword as well.
You'd use a sword as well?
Archangel Michael.
Yeah, that's been coming up quite a bit now lately too. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
And discernment, the sword is discernment.
Yeah, it is discernment.
Just cutting cords.
Yeah. So to come back to discernment from the beginning is like, develop your sword, and sword goes hand in hand with word. So, you know, the sword, like the pen is mightier than the sword, sort of thing. That just means your words are mightier than the actual physical thing. And so, I don't mean I'm literally getting a sword and stabbing people. But the sword for me is my gift, is like creativity and the word or language or storytelling, and so it's using that becomes my sword.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's gonna have a different one, but it's finding what that really is, and being honest about that, and developing this relationship with it over time. So I'd say that is a key thing. Yeah.
Beautiful. So pull out your sword when you need, discerning when to use it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Blazing my own trail as well.
Yeah,
that's the other
I
thing you use
love
a sword
that.
for. Is
Yeah.
like you don't know nobody go in the forest. You just blaze your trail and make your own path. Which is it's another medieval story of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table on the Holy Grail journey. That's another. We can go there another time. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Always.
We could literally talk.
We could talk
for hours, days,
I know.
weeks.
Yeah. So it's good to move down here.
Yeah.
A bit. Yeah. But I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate everyone for listening, and I hope this is being beneficial for some people in their journey.
Yeah, even just one, and it's been very insightful and enjoyable for me. So thank you.
No worries.
Thanks for sharing your wisdom, and we'll
continue next time.
Yeah, keen for the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.